Apparently John wants to be the Rambo of automotive repair here. He's all dressed up in his army outfit with a knife ready to stab some foam. We do care about John's health, so we did manage to put a couple of pieces of foam down on these studs, considering I already ended up ripping out a pair of pants on them. So John's going to cut this up. We're working on a ton of little things today. The wiring needs to get put up there. You can go ahead, John. Go at it. The wiring needs to get stuck up onto that wall. This seat needs to come out. Once John is done with the foam and I get the seat out of here, we're going to truck bed liner the entire floor area. John's going to try to cut this at as much of a 90-degree angle as he can so that we can truck bed all the way. I think I'm going to truck bed all the way up to here so that it creates a catch area. We have installed the classic Ford has too many relays in its starting system bypass as a preemptive thing for this. In Ford vehicles of this nature, they usually have a starter relay in the fuse box. They have a starter relay something or other that's over here in underneath the battery. And then they also have the solenoid on the starter itself. So what I do on a lot of these is I either install a secondary wire or I put a secondary setup that is push button right directly to the solenoid on the starter. So this is not broken right now, but if the relay, the solenoid in there fails, you cannot start one of these without getting under the vehicle. So on the rest of the honey-do list, we needed to figure out what was up with the horn. The horn ended up turning out to be nothing but a fuse. This actually had a fuse that was dedicated to just the horn. That's a new one on me. Haven't seen that in anything in a while. We got these taped off. I do not like the chrome, so we're going to black out the chrome. Somebody already did a repaint-ish on the grill. I think what I'm going to do is paint this so that it seals up everything, and then I may or may not bed liner the top edge of this. I haven't quite decided how I feel about that. I don't like these little itty-bitty chrome screws, so those are going to get painted and covered up. But the other big thing right now is modifying the center seat. So these are the rear seats, the passenger seat that came out of a extended wheelchair van, and they normally have a really big loop of a seat belt. And the problem is it was designed for the rear of the van, which has a taller roof in it, and so it didn't work. But what I did figure out after monkeying around was that Ford Ranger stuff for the rear jump seat of a Ford Ranger is going to fit right there perfectly. So I ripped these out of the Ford Ranger that I drive a long time ago because of the fact that I use that side of the cab just as storage. So, are you done yet?
Yeah, you do them.
Okay, John. Alright, John, let me interrupt you with the seat, and let's test and see how this fits. Why don't you come over to the corner over here, and I'll set this up. Get this lined up with the holes in the floor. Okay, so that's not bolted down, but that's basically where it should be, plus or minus a couple inches. So without tipping over backwards like an idiot, why don't you sit on that and see if you can actually click the seatbelt across. And I'll grab the camera for a different angle. Let's get a different angle on John in the seat here. There we go. That looks okay. Now, I know people are gonna be all whatever about this. This is just mock-up. Eventually it'll all either be welded or grade 8. So, no worries. We're not taking a chance of putting John through the windshield. Not this time. Maybe when he's driving. So John's been back here working on this. Got a little bit of finish work to do, but not too much. And he's been chipping away at getting this into here, and he's doing a good job. Like I said, we're going to truck bed liner all the way up through to about right in here. So it's more about just getting the edge done and filling it in. But, well, let me zoom this out a little bit. I would say that looks pretty good. How in line are you with the seat next to you? Pretty close?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that'll work. What do you think?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to being able to sit in the center? Can you actually see out the windshield?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe we need a Van-Haulen 2.0 with a set of bench seats back here and a slightly smaller bed. John's over here working on his favorite hatred of spray paint. I think, like father, like son, he sucks at it just as bad as I do, if not worse. But he's learning. You know, you can't blame him at 11. As far as my job, now that these are pulled out and everything is out of here, I've got to tape off all the studs, tape off all the holes, and bed liner this thing. It's a good thing that I decided to order 6 cans of this, because that is what 1 can did. Somebody padded their coverage numbers, because, yeah, the ratings that were on this can, it should have done the entire area. And this stuff is really, really thin. Not quite sure how I feel about this. We'll see in the long term. We test fit our seat cover. We brought it down, made sure that the flap, you want a seat cover that has the flap that goes through here that clips around. In order to tighten up against this lower part, or you're always going to end up with a flappy mess. We've got some trim tech here. This stuff is insanely expensive a can. This is overkill. I just happen to have it left over from another project. So we're going to take and we're going to do the edge over here. We're going to do this edge. We're going to do this area here so that it tightens up. And we're going to make sure to do this front lip. And now I'm going to strap it in. And hopefully we should have a seat cover that stays. And there we go. There is nothing professional about it, but it won't move around on you and shift like seat covers usually do. So we'll give that a little while to settle in and go do the other one. Yep, this is my hell for the next couple of hours. We've got some leftover, look at all the dust on this. This is leftover from back when I was a teenager and the whole engine bay cleanup thing was the in fad. So we've got to break down this wiring harness to what stays in the cab and what needs to go to the rear lights. And right now we've got a booster pack that's running some USB lights up top here. I love these things. $15 for a 3-pack is totally worth it. On an interesting side note, if you have a Ford truck chassis based whatever, and you keep exploding taillights on the driver's side, it's probably this singular ground right here. I don't know why Ford started doing a singular ground system to the rear at the driver's side back in about, it was probably back in about the early 90s. But even up into this, which is a 2003, 2005, something like that, they still do it, and it's still a known chronic problem. If you keep exploding your brake light on your driver's side, it is probably that one single ground wire needs to be redone. Thanks, Ford. Anyways, this is my purgatory. Alright, John's gonna record. We're gonna see whether we can let all the magic smoke out. See, running lights. Why did that not turn on? Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? I bet this didn't turn on because I bet it uses the chassis ground. I bet it uses this ground. Why you no turn on?
Dad wants to see wiring life sucks.
Brake. Turn. Turn. Hazards. So as you can see, the stupid bar works. Something in the plug-and-play wiring harness isn't working. Back to the van. I am sorry for the Ford dingy, but we did figure out that what it is the ground, like I figured, because Ford is screwed up. So as you can see, we've got running lights on, we've got a blinker on, and if I take the ground for this and I drive it straight to the frame, we've got blinky. Whoop. Yeah, there we go. We got blinking. And we've got running lights. So, yeah, thank you, Ford. We'll figure out our ground. Hey, John. It was awful nice of you to color match with the headlights. Let me share with you one of the happiest moments of my day. You want to know what it was in case you run into this wiring hell? I didn't have this one plugged in. So the blinker was going too fast for the LED to give a damn. That's why it didn't work. Electrical. It's a fun thing. So why did I put myself through this purgatorial hell and wire in not one, but two 4-plug trailer connections? The reason being is because the really long light bar is actually going on the back of the cab where the little wing piece is. So I had to actually wire in so that we have an internal plug to the cab that will run the light bar. And now we have turn signals, turn signal, and functioning brakes. And if we really want to get all kinds of fancy, then all we have to do is hook up this to any power source whatsoever, and it'll light up the entire thing with a giant bright white section. So we could make it a cab light, or we could have reverse God mode. We don't know yet. We're still figuring that out. But that's the end of this video. Thanks, John, for helping me today. You did a really good job. Love you, bud. Bye-bye.